Hi everyone, I'm going to be showing you how to arrange our spring branches arrangement today. I'm using our laburnum vase, just a really simple classic vase that I always seem to have somewhere throughout our home. So first of all, I'm going to be using our Sakura branches. So this arrangement has no foliage in it, which is very kind of reminiscent of what's happening outside, unless you've got evergreens, which we don't tend to do in Faux. But these Sakura are going to kind of act like that because they're really branchy and you've got the delicacy. They form a really nice kind of shape and base to work with. So these are really long stems actually, but we're going to be making sure that they feel in proportion to the vase. So rule of thumb is 2.5 times the height of the vase. So that's 1, 2, and then another half is about as high as you want your highest point to go. And by the highest point, I literally mean like the tip, because you don't want it to feel too big for the vase. So I'm going to give that a nice strong bend to around about there. And I would normally say that I don't like any naked kind of stem showing, which would be about that kind of 1.5 inches. But because this is building the foundation, it's slightly different. But I am going to bend the other ones down to be slightly lower. And again, just take your time to tease out these lovely branches, because it's just going to add even more kind of like authenticity and that kind of lovely whimsical feel to this arrangement. So this one I'm going to bend down lower and have it come in towards the front, because we don't want all these stems to just sit kind of 2D at the back. You really want them to feel intertwined. And the other one I'm just going to do on this side, maybe about there. Something like that. And you'll find that these stems do sit really nicely, which is why they also work very beautifully on their own. And then secondly, I'm going to pop in then the cherry blossom. So I've got 3 branches of the cherry blossom. Now, you may be wondering why I'm not popping in the magnolia yet, because they're technically the kind of focal flower. But with this one, because there's no foliage, I like to get the base being the blossom to a point where I'm really happy with it, to then nestle in the magnolia stems. So I'm just going to turn that a little bit towards me so I can see where these are going. So once again with these, you've got quite a lot of side branches, and we don't want to be putting that into the vase looking like this. It's just, it looks too bunched up. It looks like you've just plonked them straight in without much care and attention. And I promise you, I mean, that's taken me, what, 5 seconds? But already it just looks and feels much more realistic. So we've got 3 of these as well, again, so varying the height just to make it feel super natural. These are really effortless to design with because they're both very kind of branchy and they're widespread. And then the next one, slightly lower down, going around to the other side. I'll spin this round so you can see. And they can get a bit intertwined, but that's fine. Just untangle them a little bit. Kind of like there. And with them being fully wired, it's so easy to kind of bend them to a position that you are happy with. And then the last one I'm going to have lower down and kind of coming towards the front, like this Sakura stem. So big bend on this one. Yeah, something like that. You might just have to move a few little branches to get them in. Something like that. And you want this to feel really light and airy. You don't want it to feel like there's any clumps of the blossom, which there may be around here. Quite hard for me to tell, standing kind of on top of it. So I would normally say, go and stand back from it and just have a look to make sure that you're happy with the placement. So that looks much better. Got a little bit of a gap going through the middle, but that's fine. We've still got stems to pop in. So now we've got 3 of our magnolia tulle, and these already kind of arrive slightly more splayed, but they do also bend out really nicely if you want to, and also kind of just give that main stem just a bit of a kink. I find just helps make it feel more natural. So with the 3 of these, you want to really be switching up the heights. So I'm going to have one going over to this side that's a bit higher up and kind of sitting nicely in front of the blossom on that side. Another one's going to sit on this side but slightly lower down, maybe about there. And again, just kind of meander that through all of the lovely branches. Something like that. And then the last one, I really want to have much lower down, just to bring it all together. So yeah, maybe something like that. We don't want to lose the magnolia, the short one, but equally we want it to be very evenly distributed throughout the vase. So maybe something like that. I'm just going to come round because this is a large arrangement, so I can really get a good feel for how everything is looking. Yeah, pretty happy with that. What I'll do is I'll just move it to the back here so that we can see it with a nice plain wall behind, which I always think helps with no distractions going on in front. It's just such, I feel like this is such an explosion of blossom. We've had a variation of this arrangement every year since we started actually, and I still just love this combination of blossom and magnolia. Possibly one of my favourites, but I think I say that with everything. But yeah, pretty happy with that. Hopefully that gives you a really good feel for it. And I think the biggest takeaway of this one is to take your time in teasing out those side branches to make it all look really kind of whimsical and nicely put together, as if you've just chopped them out from the branches outside in your garden. So I hope that helps, and thank you very much for watching.